I think one of the biggest rules to success is the people you have around you. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I've surrounded myself by the right people creatively, and they have the talent. You know, it's for me in my industry, I have to surround myself with people that are at my level or better than me. It's definitely, I would say, it's the people that you have around you is key.
Today we're here with Charlotte Kirk, a British actress who started acting career at the age of 11. She co-starred in Vice 2016 together with Bruce Willis and Thomas Jane. Charlotte is an award-winning actress. She completed 7 feature films and has won 13 awards and 12 nominations. Presently, she co-wrote and starred in the upcoming film Lair.
Yeah, that's one of my projects. Yeah, super happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today, Charlotte?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, super excited to be here.
Can you kick things off with a little bit about your background?
So I'm from the UK, as you can gather from my accent, from Southeast London originally, and grew up in London. And when I was 19, I realised after finishing drama school that I wanted to pursue acting. And a couple of people had mentioned to me that I should go to the States, because kind of that's where the opportunities are for acting and filming. And that's what I did. As soon as I finished drama school, I headed to the US.
That's an interesting journey. What's like people always say it's a tough career, but for you, what do you think was the most challenging part?
My career is the industry is, for me, it's a constant challenge in many different ways. The competition is obviously very challenging, but that's why I've kind of decided to create my own opportunities now. So kind of when I said, as I mentioned, I got to LA when I was 19, and my focus was acting, and I got on some movies. Things were going okay, but it wasn't enough for me, and I wasn't really doing the roles that I really wanted to do. So that's when I kind of changed the direction slightly and put my destiny in my own hands and thought, okay, this is what I want to do. How am I going to get there? But for to be in control and not just the industry, waiting for the phone to ring, going to auditions the conventional way. And that's when I realized that, okay, I'm going to create my own movies, open my own production company and make my own movies. So that's kind of where it all started, really. So the Lair that I'd literally just finished, it came out in cinemas last week, would have been the 3rd film that I co-wrote, produced and starred in through my production company.
Wow. So you kind of went from one, and it sounds like you directed yourself in the areas you wanted to get into acting, and then you got to the point where you're actually co-writing and producing.
Yes. It was kind of out of necessity to start with, but I do love business as much as I love acting. I love figuring it out, the numbers, the formula, the all that kind of stuff. And then bit by bit, it's just slowly morphed into something a lot bigger. It's never enough for me. I'm not sure if it's like an entrepreneurial thing. That first it was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the US, try acting for a little bit, and then I'll probably get it out of my system and come back home. That certainly didn't happen. I went to the US, I did one movie, and then I wanted to do another one, then I wanted to do another one, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe if I just do like, hey, what if I produce my own film? That'd be amazing. And then I'd done one, and then I was like, no, I need to do another one, and now it's just constantly an ongoing, growing need that I have to keep pursuing.
I mean, is it? There's obviously motivation that you have to go after these things. But what do you think ultimately made the biggest difference? Is it the people you're connected to, or is it starts with the motivation and then, you know, what are the other things that need aligned to?
I think one of the biggest rules to success is the people you have around you. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I hear that saying quite a lot from one person that I know, and it's so true. It's so true. And I've surrounded myself by the right people creatively, and they have the talent. You know, it's for me in my industry, I have to surround myself with people that are at my level or better than me. Never someone that's, you know, that drags you down or is not on the same wavelength as you. So I feel like I've now built this foundation of people around me, this like a small family, a company, and we're just kind of, or like a mini studio, we're just kind of rolling out movie after movie. We kind of have a formula now that works. I'd say now after this movie, The Lair, and now I have this formula now, and it's working. And I just want to keep doing movie after movie and growing, getting bigger and bigger. And it's definitely, I would say, it's the people that you have around you is key.
What got you into the acting career?
Acting is something I've always wanted to do ever since I can remember. I never really had that defining moment where I was like, oh, I really want to act. It was just something that I've always wanted to do. When I was a kid, I remember I used to drive my mum absolutely mad and embarrass the hell out of her because we would be out, and then I'd be like, I would be out in public, and I would just start performing and becoming this different character. I'd be like, come on, mum, let's have fun, let's act. And she'd be like, absolutely not, Charlotte, this is so embarrassing, stop. And this is what I just love to do. I just love to act. And then I explored it more in my school, and then I realized that, okay, this is something I love. I explored it more in drama school, and then the rest was history, really. It's just everything I can remember.
What's your top 3 principles to success?
Top 3 principles of success, I would say, is focus, passion, and determination. I think you need absolute focus, laser focus, because it's all very well saying this is what you want to do and this is your dream, but if you haven't got the focus, the laser focus and the commitment to do the same thing every day to get where you want to be, it's very, very difficult. And it's hard to focus in this day and age of social media and you know, Netflix and all these things distracting you. You just need that laser focus and stick to it. And I think determination, because if you haven't got that sheer will of determination, it's very, very difficult. You know, for my industry alone, I think it's so difficult. All the odds are against you. It's so difficult to get a movie off the ground now, or as even just as an actress, just to be in a movie or to produce a movie. It's so difficult. All odds are against you. If you don't have that sheer will of determination, it's just not going to happen. And focus, and then passion. You absolutely have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, then I think it's kind of all pointless. I feel like there's no point doing it if you don't love what you do. Life's too short and you only live once. You don't love what you do. First, you're not going to be good at it. Well, you could be good at it, but then you're not going to be happy. So what's the point of doing and having the success? If you want to reach the top of, you know, the success level, the top of the top, you have to love what you do and have passion for it. Otherwise, I just don't think you're going to get to the top.
So good 3 principles. What do you think, Shyla?
About focus. Was like focusing on your career like really hard for you? Like what, like, did you keep getting distracted so much?
Focus is difficult. I think it's, as I said, I think in this day and age, focus is very difficult. I kind of, especially as a creative mind, I have constant thoughts in my mind of ideas and characters and then the production side. So it's really hard to stay focused, but I try and use discipline to keep myself focused. Like, okay, I'm going to dedicate this much a day for this much time for the production, this much time for my acting, the creativity, and you just have to discipline yourself to make sure the focus is on point and you stay focused.
Yeah, I guess like if you're making that to like a practical, I guess how to is the challenge that there's a lot of things that do distract you and that you really need to prioritize and hone in on things. I guess what would be the approach you take to keeping yourself focused?
I would say setting every day, setting back some time for certain things it is hard. I mean, for example, I go through phases. So obviously when I'm filming, my only focus and my priority is acting. That's it. If I get all these other distractions, if I get all these the production issues or production side of things, I don't even want to think about it. You have to prioritize. I think to stay focused, you have to prioritize. Otherwise you just it does become slightly overwhelming. And I sometimes I do have that issue and that trouble of, okay, how am I going to stay focused? Because I feel like I'm trying to do so many things at once that's when it starts to go wrong, because you're not focused on one thing and you're trying to do too many things at once. So I think that my focus varies depending on what I'm doing, at what period of my if I'm filming or whatever I'm doing. And to stay focused, I'm going to try it. What I haven't done yet is when I really, really need to focus and I'm really struggling with it, I'm going to put my iPhone away. That's what I need to do. I need to leave my iPhone in a drawer, lock it away, because it's always there and you're always checking emails or social media or something. So that's something I'm going to actually challenge myself with when I feel like when I'm next time not actually focused.
I like the calendar. I think that's one I've taken a little while to learn, but if you manage your time and sort of know where you're going to spend your time and plan it ahead, that helps.
Definitely.
How do you discipline yourself to do the things you don't want to do?
Great question. It's really hard. I discipline myself to do the things I don't want to do, because the things I don't want to do help me towards my end goal, which is something I really want to do. Right. So, for example, my goal is to be the best I can be in my work and my acting. Sometimes, so if I don't want to do something on the production side, or it's send a put financing together, which is really difficult, but I remind myself why I'm doing it. And I think if you stick to what your end goal is and you're doing it because you want to get to that end goal, you just got to keep doing it. And then what's the option of not doing it? It's failing and it's not achieving what you want to do. So I just motivate myself, really. When I know that it's something I don't want to do, I motivate myself to remind myself why I'm doing it and what the end result is. And then that pushes me to do it.
It's almost like a mindset. I mean, tell me more about that. Because I do think it's natural to lose some of that motivation for those things, right? You have to do this thing that you don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure for a lot of acting, there's a lot of preparation. You got to read scripts. You got to really dress the part and things like that. But it sounds like there's an element of you're proactively getting yourself in this mindset to, bring about what those end results you're trying to achieve, and getting that excited about what you're doing so you can get through the stuff you may not prefer to do.
Yeah, and I also use inspiration, which is a big part of it. Music inspires me. So, for example, if I'm reading the script and I'm learning my lines and I'm feeling tired, I listen to music that inspires me in the background, or I watch a movie that's inspired me for that character. That really helps. Inspiration. Or just taking a break. Sometimes you need to take a break from what you're doing because you can burn out, push yourself too hard. So I'll take the dog for a walk. But inspiration is actually a huge part of what I do. As I said, because I'm in the creative world. if you're not inspired, then you're not really, for me anyway, I'm not really embracing what I'm doing as much as I should. Because when you're inspired, when I'm inspired, the sky's the limit. When I'm not inspired, I feel like, what's the point? So it's either amazing, 10 out of 10, I'm inspired, or why am I doing this? So inspiration is a big part of it as well.
Which ties to passion. And that was your other principle. Your
Passion.
principles are all like linked together. I don't know if you...
It is, isn't it? Well, I mean, passion, and then like, so passion is at the top, and then underneath passion or next to passion, you've got love. You've got to love what you do, and you've got to have passion for what you do. The two go hand in hand. You've got to love what you do, and you've got to have passion for it. Because it's so difficult to achieve something at the highest level, whatever it is. If it's acting, if it's banking, if it's a CEO of a company, whatever it is, if you don't have passion for it, then you haven't got inspiration for it, and then you're just doing it just out of necessity, because you have to, not because you love it. And then first of all, that's like depressing, and you're not going to be happy. And then if you're not happy, then your mental health's not going to be good. It has so many repercussions. So I think passion and love for what you do is absolute key. So I think actually figuring out what you want to do first is the priority. If you don't know what you're going to do, then you're a bit lost. Or you just figure out what you want to do first before doing it. Otherwise, a lot of people end up doing things they don't like, and then 20, 30 years down the line, yes, they might be successful, but they're not happy, or they could have been more successful if they were doing something they actually loved.
How do you do that?
So, my motto is regret something. If you have to have regret something you did do than what you didn't do. Because I think a lot of people do things because it's the easy way out. You got to have passion. If you have passion, and that can be scary sometimes, because failure is a scary thing, especially if you love something, you have passion for something. But if you don't have that, okay, it's not going to be as scary, but it's not going to be as fulfilling either. So
I believe like you have to just challenge yourself and try a bunch of different things to find out what you're passionate about. And I'm curious if you've ever had hesitation to try something and then overcame it and found out it's something you really enjoy doing.
Yes. So there's been a few roles that I've taken recently that I wasn't sure if I could do. So, for example, one of my previous roles, she was a horse. She because it was back in the day, it was a period piece. I had to learn how to ride a horse, and I was a little bit skeptical at the time. It was my own fault, really, because I co-wrote the script, but I thought, oh, don't worry, I'll have a stunt double that can help me with that. And then I was like, okay, well, let me just take horse riding lessons, because obviously I'm going to be seen on certain shots of it. And then I absolutely loved it. The same film, I had to learn to sword fight. Again, I was scared. It was dangerous. How's this going to pan out? Absolutely loved it. And then that opened a whole new opportunity for me of, actually, I love action movies. So then the next movie I did was The Lair, which was a full-blown action movie. And in that movie, I had to learn to fire a gun. I had never, ever used a gun before. Never used a gun before. And then there I am shooting an AK-47. So I'm constantly learning these new skill sets, and constantly challenging myself. One role, it was The Reckoning. It was very, that movie was very emotionally challenging. But then The Lair, the movie that I just finished, that was physically challenging. And I didn't know how I was going to cope with that. But every film, there's new challenges and new skill sets that I didn't think I would actually like. I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to do it great, but I end up just, again, the sheer will, determination and passion of what I love to do. And then I figure it out in some way or another, it works out.
That's a great examples.
Yep. Yeah, lots of different lots of different skills I have to learn along the way.
Have you had that, Shyla? You had something you hesitated to do, then you tried it and found out you actually liked it.
My advice is go for it. If you don't really like it and you're not sure, go for it, because you never know until you try.
What would you tell the next what advice would you tell the next generation?
The advice I would give for the next generation would be to be yourself. I feel like, the next generation or this generation, a lot of you're influenced by a lot of TV and social media, and you're looking at other people's life through a screen, which is great, but it's not necessarily real or reality. And I think quite a few people are scared of being themselves and unique. And I think being different is great, but being you, because whatever you are, you're unique to anyone else in this world. There's only one you, and embrace that. Don't try and fit in. Don't try and be like everyone else. Be you, and the more you embrace that, I think that's a great thing. That's a great thing, to embrace you and not try and be like everyone else. So that's the advice I would give is don't be scared of being yourself.
What advice would you have for somebody that wants to produce a documentary, for example?
If you've got a good subject matter, or it's a good, a good documentary or a good film, it's just finding the right people around you, a good producer, a good director, and finding the right team. You find the right team, the sky's the limit, and you have a good story, you can do whatever you want.
Do you have to go fund those projects? Is that something that's on your plate, or is it, how does that end up getting managed?
My last 3 movies, I found the equity. I helped put together, and produced it, and co-wrote it, and starred in it. But yeah, The Reckoning, my first one, that's the one where I won 13 awards, or 12, whatever it was, 12, 13 awards. And then The Lair, which just came out last week, I wrote that one. And then Duchess is the one we just finished filming this summer. Very, I thought, correct. And that's coming out next year, and that's kind of like my pet project. And each project, I feel I'm learning so much along the way. Each project I'm learning more and more, and I'm just getting better and better at what I do. And I think the more you do it, the better you become at anything.
Yeah, I think you're right. But you had a really good point about the network. It's so much around the people that you have around you that really allow you to get those opportunities and grow.
100%. Very, 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 very important. And, that's why I went to the States when I was 19, when I was very young. I knew, but now I'm back in the UK, and I'm kind of between the UK and the US, and it's a great opportunity anyway. You've got to find the right network of people.
Where do you like staying better?
Sorry?
Where do you like staying better? The UK or I guess US is in all different water.
I love them both for different reasons. The UK is where I grew up, and it's home, but then the US is also my home because I was there for such a long time, and I love the mentality and the mindset and the culture there. So it's very difficult, very, very difficult. I love both. I'm like,
every place has that. They have their own unique reasons. They all have their good and bad. There's no perfect place, but there's always home for somebody.
Exactly. That's why I think if you can split your time, that's the best. You get the best of both worlds.
So we're gonna go pick a movie out tonight to watch. Which one of your movies would you suggest? Maybe one of your favorites?
Watch The Lair. It's a fun movie. The Reckoning is a hard movie to watch. It's like a dark drama, psychological thriller, horror. The Reckoning, that's The Reckoning, sorry. The Lair is just a fun movie. Okay. It's like The Thing meets, remember The Thing, John Carpenter? Meets Dog Soldiers. It's a monster fun movie. So you like it. And it's out now. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it is out. I saw it. We'll look forward to watching that.
Amazing.
Thank you for being on our podcast. Is there anywhere that people could follow you, like any social media?
Yes, I'm on Instagram, Charlotte Kirk Official. I'm on, my Facebook fan page is the same, Charlotte Kirk, and IMDb, where you can see and follow all my movies.
Hey, this has been great, Charlotte. I appreciate you taking the time.
Of
I know
course.
that we'll do some editing. We got a good amount of editing to do, so we'll make sure we put something nice together. But this is fun. I will definitely be a new fan. So I'll follow your check out there. And
yeah, amazing. And yeah, please send it to me once it's all edited together. I'd love to see it, and I'll post it and promote it my end as well.
Cool. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time with us this weekend.
Thank you. And you have a lovely weekend, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Bye.